If you woke up in medieval London, the first thing you noticed was not beauty. It was the smell. Smoke, damp wood, old straw, animals, and the sour breath of a crowded city. This was not the London of polished history books. It was alive, crowded, muddy, and dangerous. For ordinary people, the day did not begin with choice. It began with survival. There were no alarm clocks, only bells, carts, animals, and the pressure to keep living. Your home was not private comfort. It was bedroom, kitchen, workshop, storage, and shelter. Heat came from flame. Light came from flame. And flame could destroy everything. If you were poor, you slept on straw. If lucky, beneath rough wool. In winter, cold entered the walls, your clothes, your bones, and your sleep. Then you opened the door and stepped into a city already awake. Bakers heated ovens, servants carried water, carts rolled, and animals moved toward market. Medieval London did not wake gently. It shouted, scraped, rang, and pushed forward. Above you, timber houses leaned over narrow lanes, nearly closing the sky. The city grew upward because there was little room left to breathe. A single candle could warm a room or start a nightmare. But the first danger beneath you was the ground itself. The street was road, drain, market floor, workplace, and dumping place. Children walked beside pigs, horses passed near food, and dogs slipped through legs. When it rained, mud, manure, ashes, ale, and scraps mixed together. One wrong step could mean injury, infection, or death. Breakfast was not comfort. It was a calculation of what remained. Bread was the center of life, dark, heavy, and sometimes hard. Water looked simple, but in medieval London, it could carry hidden danger. That is why weak ale was common. It was habit, food, and sometimes safer. If you needed water, you waited at a well or public conduit. But clean and unclean were never far apart in the same street. The Thames gave London power, bringing food, timber, fish, wine, and strangers. But the river also carried what the city wanted gone. In London, the place that fed you could also poison you. And still, people built lives here, returning to the same streets every morning. For children, childhood ended early. Useful hands were expected to work. An apprentice entered another household and gave years to a master's trade. Girls worked too, spinning, cooking, carrying, cleaning, selling, and learning by necessity. Home and work often shared one cramped, smoky room. Each trade had its rhythm. Bakers, smiths, fishmongers, tanners, and sellers. Work marked the body with flour, smoke, cuts, sweat, and smell. The market looked colorful, but living inside it meant noise, smoke, and hunger. Cheapside was where money moved, rumors spread, and status became visible. If you had money, London offered chances. Without it, London offered exposure. The city was rich, but its wealth did not mean comfort for everyone. A wealthy home had better food, stronger doors, warmer cloth, and servants. But even wealth could not seal out sickness, rats, smoke, or fear. Disease did not respect carved furniture, polished cups, or a known family name. For the poor, illness meant pain, lost wages, unpaid rent, and empty bowls. Medicine existed, but rescue was never guaranteed. People feared bad air, imbalance, punishment from heaven, and corruption they could not see. They did not know bacteria, but they knew certain rooms could become deadly. Then came a fear greater than anything London already knew. They called it the Great Pestilence. We remember it as the Black Death. Between 1348 and 1350, London was transformed by death and absence. First came rumors. A neighbor sick, a family gone, a street gone silent. The terror was not only death, but not knowing why it chose one house. The wealthy might flee. The poor were often forced to stay. A closed gate, empty purse, sick relative, or demanding master could trap you. When illness entered your room, home no longer felt safe. Prayer filled the silence where answers should have been. Church bells marked the hours, but also grief again and again. When the worst passed, too many tools had no hands. Labor became scarce, and survivors could sometimes demand more. For some, survival meant grief. For others, it brought a little power. By midday, if you could stand, the city expected you to work. Rest came through holy days, seasons, illness, or exhaustion, not personal choice. Your hands told your story before your mouth did. A baker carried flour, a smith carried smoke, a fishmonger carried the river. Your work was not just income. It was your identity. Your place showed in sleeves, shoes, belts, posture, and who stepped aside. Above trade, hunger, sickness, and loss stood religion. Birth, marriage, illness, guilt, hope, and death passed through the church. To us, London may seem filthy. To them, it was also sacred. The same feet that crossed mud could kneel on cold stone before noon. By midday, hunger returned, shaped by class, season, price, and luck. For most people, food was simple: pottage, bread, onions, peas, ale, and fish. For the wealthy, meals displayed status. For the poor, meals fought hunger. Hunger was not always famine. Sometimes it was just a smaller piece of bread. Markets smelled rich, but smelling food was not the same as owning it. London promised abundance, but abundance rarely meant fairness. By afternoon, smoke thickened, wheels cut mud, and bodies pressed closer. Crossing town was not a walk. It was a struggle through pressure. You learned the city by sound: hammer, cellar, bell, wheel, and animal. Every street had rhythm, memory, and shadows that could hide danger. Justice was public, loud, and designed to be remembered. Punishment taught more than the accused. It taught the crowd where power stood. The law stood at gates, markets, scales, and wherever money changed hands. Walls and gates controlled who entered, what they carried, and what could be taxed. London was not only a city. It was a machine of trade. Goods came by river, travelers by road, and rumors from everywhere. A bad harvest, royal tax, or sickness nearby could darken an entire week. The modern world shields you from many small disasters. Medieval London did not. A cut could fester. A debt could trap you. A fire could erase everything. That was London's power. It offered opportunity while reminding you life was fragile. As evening came, markets closed, shutters dropped, and shadows took the streets. Work slowed, but danger did not. Doors were barred and fires lit. There were no electric lamps waiting to rescue the night. A familiar lane could become strange after sunset. You listened before moving. Footsteps, wheels, voices, dogs, silence. Inside, the hearth became the center of the world again. But the same fire that warmed your hands could climb the walls. The same city that fed you could infect you. The same walls that guarded London could also make it feel like a cage. To live, there was to live inside uncertainty, every day and every breath. When morning returned, the same question returned with it. Would you work, eat, pray, and reach home before the city took something? Most people answered not with speeches, but with routine. They carried water, broke bread, hammered iron, sold fish, and lit candles. They buried the dead, raised the living, and continued. They lived without modern comfort, but not without meaning. Medieval London was brutal, crowded, filthy, sacred, ambitious, and deeply human. It was not a dead world frozen in books. It was loud, breathing, bargaining, praying, suffering, laughing, and surviving. Because in medieval London, survival was not an adventure. It was everyday life.